welcome back to JB Reviews. Today, we're going to go ahead and get this Homesteader Intrepid raid today. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's going to be a 2021 race trailer. That's what I call it. It's basically an enclosed car hauler. And I have not had a chance yet to get this thing weighed. So we're going to do that today. And I'm going to go over some safety precautions you should take if you're towing any type of travel trailer, enclosed trailer, or even fifth wheel. Let's get started. The first safety thing I would talk to you guys about are obviously your tires. Tires are very, very important. A lot of guys online say when you have cheaper tires like Lodestar, I've never heard of those tires. They do, however, look like a really nice tire for the most part. They kind of mimic the same tires I've seen, like Trailer King tires. And I find that these tires are adequate. Now, if you're towing a lot, these tires are fine. Just keep the PSIs high, which is the first thing you want to look for when you're getting a new trailer. So my trailer PSI's code is 65. So before I take my trailers out, I always try to check the tire pressure just to make sure that I'm at least at 65 PSIs. I want to max that out, okay? The next thing I do is I check my tires load capacity. Now the max load for single tires is 2540. 1150 kilograms. For dual setup, it's actually a little bit less at 2200 pounds, but obviously I don't have a dual tire setup on my trailer. And dual is basically like a dually, so I'd have basically 8 tires on this trailer for an example. But that's the very first thing that I do. Now when you're buying a brand new trailer too, you have to understand the wheel torque requirements. You see right here, re-torque after the first 10, 25, and again at 50 miles, and I believe you're supposed to do it again at 200 miles. I actually did not follow up until the 25. I did it at 50, and when I was tightening up these lug nuts, they were very loose, like I was actually turning them. So I strongly recommend, if you're going to get a new trailer, you need to re-torque these lug nuts because they are definitely going to be loose. I was very surprised. Now when I picked this trailer up, I put my car inside of it. So having that extra weight could be breaking in the axles, and of course I don't know why they would come undone that much, but they were really, really loose. So if you're getting a trailer, I'm gonna say it one last time, check to make sure these lug nuts are tight. We did check them at the dealership before we left, and going down the road, parking the trailer, taking it back out a couple times, I got to about 50 miles and I checked them again and they were pretty loose. So I'm gonna check them right now. And then I'm going to show you the procedure of what you're supposed to do. Alright, so hopefully you can see that, but we're going to be using the 7/8 or 22 millimeters. It's actually the same for my truck too. Same lug nuts are going to be the same for the trailer too. And this is something you want to look at too. So they give you the way you're supposed to tighten the lugs up. So you have to go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have a 6 lug. I wish my trailer was an 8 lug. Now I did notice, I didn't know this coming into it, but this does have Dexter Axles. I was very happy to see that. These are torsion axles too, which were upgraded, so I'm not sure if that's why. But let's go ahead and do that now and see if any of these lugs are going to be loose. Not sure if you guys can notice, but they weren't as loose as they were the first time around I did this, but they came undone a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and do it for the rest of the wheels, and then I'll show you the next thing you should look out for. So we're headed to a Love's truck stop in Hagerstown, Maryland. They have a CAT scale there, and I know they're open today. It's the day after Christmas, basically. I don't know when I'm gonna post this footage. It could be a week from now, or 2 weeks, or even a month. It just depends. But we're gonna head over that way. We're gonna see how much the truck weighs today. I'm going to put a new full tank of diesel, and I'm going to refill my DEF also, just to get a good weight for my truck. And then what I'll do is I'll weigh the truck first, and then I'll hook up my trailer and then weigh the trailer and the truck together, and then from there we'll figure out what the tongue weight is. Now what I normally do is I take the unloaded front and rear axle of my truck, and then I hook the trailer up, and then I use those numbers for the front and rear axles of my truck, subtract it from the unloaded sheet, and and that will give us the tongue weight. And what I'll do is I'll be sure to show that to you guys in the video, what I'm doing, that we have a better understanding. All right, so I'm probably about 20 minutes away, but in the meantime we'll keep going through some of the stuff that you should do when you're towing a trailer. On this side, this will have the most lugs that were kind of loose, so they're all pretty much tightened back up again, and we're good. So the next thing we're going to go over is going to be on this jack here. So this is basically going to be a universal connector storage kit. Now, why is this a safety feature? I strongly believe that this 7-pin connector is probably one of the most important things on this trailer, second to the coupler, obviously. And the reason why is typically when people have trailers, when they unhook, you always kind of see these things kind of lying around or wrapped around. And although these are going to probably be corrosive proof because of the material that they're using, I still recommend having a cover to keep this thing safe, because if this gets damaged, you lose your lights, which can be a hazard to other drivers, but most importantly, you could potentially lose brakes. So I decided to get this, that way I can have this thing protected when I'm not using my trailer. So let's go ahead and open everything up. So here's a better look at it here. So basically this is going to cover that 7-pin connector. Now I could put it on this way, but I prefer maybe having it maybe this way here. I think this way would be a little bit better, and that way I still don't have to worry about clearance, and I don't have to worry about these cords here. So I mean, down here, I could do it right here too, but then again I won't have enough slack for the cord. So I think this is the best spot right here. I think this is a good spot right there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how this goes, and then like I said, you'll have a better understanding. So this has rivets right there. You don't know if you can see those rivets on that little plastic square piece. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna run these zip ties in and basically tighten it up. That way it sits nice and flush. They're gonna run through this way, like this, and then around to this side. Actually, I think I have this the wrong way. It probably need to be this way, yeah. So they have to go that way, and then that way you'll have it connect right here. And at that point, you can have a nice little clean setup. And as I mentioned, it wouldn't be a bad idea to still add some dielectric grease on this. And I still do have a cover that goes on top of all this too. I want to protect this plug for any type of issues in the future. Like I said, if I'm going down the road, I don't want to have this lose any kind of connection to my brakes or to my lights. And that's what it looks like when it's all said and done. The only thing I would recommend is, as I said earlier, is potentially just adding a little bit of dielectric grease to the top. And I wouldn't tighten it up until you're 100% sure that everything's going to fit as it's supposed to. And as you guys can see, everything fits perfectly, even with my other cover. So I have it double protected, and for me, I have a lot more peace of mind. Make sure that 7-pin does not get damaged or corroded. Last thing I want to mention about this cover is it does have a spot on this side for a screw right there, but I don't really need to use that because this is metal and this screw's not going through that, nor would I want it to. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. I don't really see that it does anything other than just to keep it nice and secure, and I feel good about these straps on here, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. The next thing you need to do is you need to figure out what the height of your trailer is. You don't want to go down the road and not know how high this trailer is, because in some cases, you know, this is not a tall trailer, but it's basically almost 9 foot. Now it's showing about 8 foot 5 inches here, but I just say 9 feet because there's a vent on top of the roof, so that's gonna have to be accounted for. And keep in mind, I do have my trailer loaded up also, and with all that weight inside there, this trailer could be potentially like a little bit lower. So if I were to drive down the road unloaded, it could be slightly higher. So I would say figure 9 foot
4 inches. I would just say an extra foot just to be safe.
Alright guys, so I got the truck and the trailer weighed. So let's go ahead and stop and we'll go ahead and take a look at these slips, okay? That way, moving forward, you guys will know exactly what my trailer weighs when I do my testing on other trucks.
Now that you've seen a couple of things that I do when I first get a trailer, I want to show you the last thing you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to a weigh station first off, just to make sure you're not over on your truck. Because I use this big old 3500 to tow this trailer, I never did that because I didn't really need to. So let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers for this truck. So we're at 6,000 for the gross axle weight rating up front. Gross axle weight rating in the rear is 7,000. And gross vehicle weight, if you care to know, is 12,300 pounds. Now my payload in this truck is 3,759 pounds. This is a limited. This has a good bit of options on it. Doesn't have all the options. The only option I skipped out on that I really wanted to get, but I didn't because of the weight, was the air suspension. If I do get a 2021 or 22 Ram, I may skip out on a limited if I go single rear wheel again, because I may get the air suspension to do testing with it. So that might be a deciding factor for me in my next truck. Or I may get one alternator. Well, that's not going to really change much on the weight. I could skip the sunroof or a few other things, but that's why I did not get the air suspension, because I wanted this truck to have a higher payload. So as you can see, this truck is not really riding much lower. It's actually level. I'll show you a better look at it in a second here. Alright guys, so this is the first flip you're going to see. This is going to be with just me inside the truck. I did not have the trailer hooked up. In order to get your tongue weight, you have to get your truck weighed first without the trailer. So that's what I did. So it came in at 8,820 pounds. Now this is going to be the slip for the trailer being hooked up to the truck. Now as you guys see, the steer axle did actually drop down a little bit, and some of that weight got transferred to the drive axle. Trailer axle weight was 8,300 pounds. Gross combined weight rating came in at 18,160 pounds. If you've been following me for any time frame, you know that I do a Weight Watchers truck edition. Now I do use this spreadsheet for that. So KYD, Keep Your Daydream, they created this. I'll give them a shout out because it is their spreadsheet and I use it for my videos. So be sure to give them a follow. And if you would like to get this, it is in the description below. Now, as you guys can see, I have a 2019 Ram 3500. That was a truck that you guys saw in the video. The curb weight of my truck, I did change this from 8820 to 8620, as you guys can see right here. And I put myself under the passenger. So you guys saw the GVWR of my truck. Gross combined weight rating, I just rounded this down from my truck to 35,000. Payload, you guys saw that. Now towing capacity is 23,000 pounds. Let me show you something real quickly. As you guys can see, 373 axle, high output Cummins, has a 23,000 pound towing capacity. One thing I'll tell you is when you're using a single rear wheel truck, I wouldn't go that high, honestly, on towing capacity. You just need a dually once you go really past 18,000 pounds. That's just my opinion, but you're probably going to just need a dually really over 17,000 pounds, but we won't go down that road. That's another video. So as you guys can see, available payload on my truck is 2,519. New gross vehicle weights 9,860 pounds. New gross combined vehicle weight rating 18,770. And as you guys can see, towing capacity is just, it's not a factor with this trailer. I mean, this trailer is really light compared to what this truck can actually do. Now, this is the trailer. It's a 2021 Homesteader Intrepid, loaded with everything inside, 9,340 pounds. Gross vehicle weight ratings 9,950 pounds, and the hitch weight is 1,040. Just really quickly, the second yellow sheet that you saw, all I did was I took the loaded steer axle and drive axle on that second sheet and I subtracted it from the unloaded yellow sheet to get the hitch weight. And you just have to subtract the steer and the drive axles for that, and that will give you guys your hitch weight. But all in all, as you guys can see, if you're looking for trailers, you really want to make sure you get enough gross vehicle weight rating. I wish I would have just did a 11.4 or even 14,000 pound GVWR, because if I want to add tires and fuel and air compressor, I'm pretty much on the cusp, especially if I want to add an AC unit. So do your research and get the right trailer for your car and setup. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the gross vehicle weight with the trailer hooked up was 9,860 pounds. Now, my truck does weigh about 400 or 500 pounds more than a 3/4 ton, but if it was a 3/4 ton truck, Keep in mind, if you have any extra passengers, I didn't. I don't have toolbox or anything inside my truck. I don't have any aftermarket wheels or anything that would add a lot of weight to my truck also. You could potentially go over on your payload, so just be mindful of the trim package that you pick out for your trucks. That way you have enough payload and capacity for it. But on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon. Since you guys waited to the end, the truck is riding about level. It's actually a little bit high still, like, so it has like a little bit of a rake in a sense, but a 3/4 ton probably be squatting a little bit more. But that leaf spring suspension out back, I think it's the Hotchkiss is what they use. It's really good. It does do a good job. Now my fifth wheel puts about 2,600 pounds of pin weight on my truck, and it rides pretty level. It squats a little bit more than you would want it to, but it rides really good going down the road. Like I said, I hope this was helpful, guys. Be sure again to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.